Get ready for Prophets and Ballers, where politics are a passion, sports are a living, and God is a given.
Hey! Come on now, fellas! We've got to answer the bell. Now let's go!
Hey, been a while. Welcome to Prophets and Ballers. Been a long time. I'm not going to even say what episode number this is out of shame. That's how long it's been. But we are so pumped to be here today. And you have our word. We're going to put so much more content out there for you guys. Thank you all so much. Asking for more and more content. It's just been crazy. I had a major surgery, broke my in every which way possible, my ankles, and then as you guys know, Jeff, he had, or I call him Slags. He had neck surgery last year. He went in there as a human being, came out as a Minecraft character, no neck. Uh, you should be.
Let's be real, man. You know, just Google a bear coming out of hibernation, and that's what all three of us look like right now. Okay.
Yeah, but Slags, you should go to Legoland and tell them that you want to go on display. I mean, you'll make a lot of money. I'm telling you, guys. I've never seen a human being like that. You know, just a head and a body.
Don't let
but-
Salt listen for all our listeners. Don't let Salts fool you about what he broke. He broke his ass from sitting on it so much.
And so now the poor guy tore his rotator cuff. I wonder if I'm doing what late at night.
Tell us how you do that.
You know, I mean, you must have been yanking hard. Tell us a little bit about it. By the way, good to talk to you, Slags, down in Carolina. All jokes aside, hope all is going well. Really pumped up for this episode. So it's a rotator cuff, right?
I've got a torn labrum and a partially torn rotator cuff.
Okay, so I mean, we're getting injured here, but Mr. P out in the Northwest, what's your well, it's Pride.
What's my physical status or what?
Well, I was gonna say it's Pride Month, so you might be a little sore in the rear.
Oh shit. You know, that's funny. Funny you mentioned that. I actually saw more pictures of Pride Month coming out of Miami, and not so much Seattle. So that's kind of interesting, isn't it? Coming from a DeSantis area.
Wow. Should we get right into the elections or whoa? No, folks, we're gonna get right into it. Welcome to Prophets and Ballers. So just introduce you to Mr. P. Obviously, my white brother from another mother, Slags, and I'm Salts. Been a while, but we'll get right into it. The Trump indictment. And folks, as you guys know, our format, we go to the top of the first, seventh inning stretch. You guys know what Slags does during the seventh inning stretch, pun intended. And then we go to the bottom of the ninth. But today, we're probably going to go from the top of the first all the way to the bottom of the ninth and finish this off because this is politically outside of assassinations or attempted assassinations in this country. The Trump indictment is the biggest political story, call it exaggeration, but in American history, because it's the first time ever that a president, in this case, a former president, has been indicted at a federal level. And what makes it that much more crazy is that he's being indicted by his political opponent, um, Joe Biden. So, folks, we always say, again, welcome to Prophets and Ballers, but we always say this is the home for next level thinking. And we have to be intellectually honest and intellectually objective. And I'll start out with this to, lay the canvas out there. If you're intellectually honest and objective, right? Whether, and I'm speaking to the liberals right now. If you believed the Russian hoax or the PP videos, right, you got duped. So you can't keep getting duped. If we want the country to truly unify and truly, what was the cliche that America is? We're a melting pot. There are forces right now that's trying us not to melt, to keep us separated. And so we're asking you today, the listener, and we're so grateful for you. And by the way, more grateful if please leave a review and a 5-star review and a comment wherever you are listening to this podcast. We would really, really appreciate it, folks. Get the algorithms behind us so we can walk up the ladder, walk up the charts, so we get our voices out there because, humbly speaking, we bring a lot of next level thinking, a lot of entertainment, a lot of comedy, and it's like a lot of our listeners say, it's one of the most fun shows to listen to. But I'm going to start there. For you listeners, you have to be intellectually objective that the timing of this in an election year, Trump's numbers are skyrocketing, Biden's are falling, and once again, he's not campaigning, meaning Joe Biden. He's staying in the basement. And once again, his campaign is literally 4 words: I'm not Donald Trump. Slags, let's start with this blank canvas and let's start painting because we're probably going to be on this subject for about a good half the show or more. What we think, and let's get a painting out there for our listeners. So let's both of us pick up the paintbrushes and start painting away. And Mr. P's got a paintbrush as well, and he'll come and cross the T's and dot the I's wherever he wants. But when you first saw the news, what went through your mind? How did you react? And where are you today with what is happening with this federal indictment?
Pretty much like the general consensus of the conservatives, if you will. Disappointed but not surprised, because it appears that the left, particularly the radical left, I'll say, seems to have no bounds when it comes to shamelessly pursuing this against Trump. And the one thing that we always preach on this show is to our listeners, for them to think for themselves, draw their own conclusions. Do not let the media influence them in any way, shape, or form. And if you were to step back and look at this through an objective lens, and when I say through an objective lens, I'm saying remove Donald Trump's name and try to look at this through, or even
Great
remove
point.
the party.
Great point. Great
You know,
point.
just
Yes.
what would your thoughts be if, say, let's just turn the tables and say if the right was attempting to do this to Biden, which ironically, it appears that the right has more of a case to do this to Biden because their evidence does exist of his corruption in dealing with foreign nations. Um, this war, for instance, for example, this
Yeah.
Russia Ukraine war, there's a lot of smoke that's starting to rise up from the Biden camp that this could very well be an illegal war that he's profiting from, that his family's profiting from. Yet you have all of these people that are so terrified of Trump that they don't want him anywhere near uh, being able to run in 2024. And if you were to step back objectively and look at this and ask, well, why is that? Why don't they want this guy to run? That is your answer right there, why they're doing this. Because the deep state is petrified of what's going to happen should he win in 2024. And they're pulling out all the stops to try and prevent that and make him look like the criminal that, ironically, Joe Biden is. So I just feel like, there's so many people that are irate over what's going on right now. And I'll be honest with you, I'm getting to the point where I'm numb from it because none of this surprises me. The left
And
is making up the rules as they go, and they're doing whatever they want without being checked in any way.
wow, you made some great points there. I mean, you're off to a Picasso painting there. That's phenomenal. And God, you really hit the nail on the target. It really simplifies to be objective. Just for just for this episode, folks. Actually, it should actually be in your livelihoods, right? To be a fair and honest citizen. Remove the name Donald Trump. Um, now, um, no doubt, there's some damning evidence in this indictment, without a doubt. However, however, in my opinion, there is an incredible Pandora box that you are opening up that we have no idea where it goes to. Probably more than likely, as funny as it sounds, could lead to civil war in modern day. You're taking the voices of 80 million people and putting their leader in jail. Now, again, there's some damning evidence there. He could have turned over the documents, etc. However, again, like you said, if you're intellectually objective, knowing who this man is, everything for him is about America, America, America. Did he put the nation at risk to a foreign threat? Did anyone get harmed as a result of him having these documents? And the answers to those questions are a resounding no. Um, and this prosecutor, he went after John Edwards to make a big name. He got crushed there. And this prosecutor has been actually getting crushed pretty much for his entire career when he goes for these big home runs, grand slams, whatever you want. This is the grand slam of all the grand slams, getting the former president. But like you said, and so you just answered the question, what's the 60,000 pound elephant in the room? And you just basically said that they're afraid of Donald Trump because he's coming after the deep state. Now, this is where a lot of people will pick their own paintbrushes or yank the paintbrushes from your hands, my hands, because I do believe in what you said. But this is where a lot of our listeners are going to say, whoa, hold off for a second. Hold off for a second. Uh, you need proof that the deep state is as corrupt as you guys say, yada, 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 and on we go. Um, how do you know that's why they're coming after Trump? Um, so
Well,
let's
let me.
get,
I'll
yeah,
paint that picture. So I'll
okay,
come in
go
here
for it, Mr.
and
P.
be the other side because
Yeah,
the now on the other side, Trump knew that the material was classified, right?
correct.
And he had it at Mar-a-Lago.
Yep.
Everyone pretty much knows this. This is the general consensus. Now, and then the other kind of side was that, he tried to obstruct the investigation, right? You guys have heard like, oh, he tried to get his valet, part of his valet or somebody in the valet. I think it was like Walt Nada or something like that. His
Yeah.
name is.
Yeah. His
They
main, yeah.
try to, hide the classified documents and stuff, right? And the other argument is like, hey, the Secret Service was there, so the place was secure. Well, the other side says the Secret Service is only there to protect Trump, not the doc
Documents.
to secure the documents, right?
Okay.
So that's pretty much the pushback there. So the government is essentially saying like they have enough evidence to prove that Trump was obstructing the uh the evidence or the investigation, and then also the classified information was not supposed to be there in the first place. So
Yeah.
uh
And I think, are you done? Uh,
yeah, I
yeah.
think I
Okay.
had
Yeah.
I have a few more
Yeah.
things, but go ahead.
Yeah. I think you hit the nail on the head. Okay. So, Slags, obviously, I think we both agree on this. So Mr. P laid out the other side. Basically, he's saying, okay, let's remove the name Donald Trump. If it was anybody else, they're going to jail. There is evidence there, from what we see in the indictment, right? And there's obstruction. Um, However, my question is, and Slags, you can pick up your paintbrush in a second. Uh, did it hurt the country in any which way? Was it harmful to anyone? And I know Mr. P can come back and say, well, that's not the point of obstruction. It's the point that it could have led. Well, what was the intent, right? And Mr. P laid it out beautifully. There was no doubt, that he was trying to get Walt. Strike that. I shouldn't say no doubt. Allegedly, he was trying to get Walt to hide the documents that they wanted back. Um, and so this is where it gets tricky. But then, why this is so historical and unprecedented is because Donald Trump, when he was the president of the United States, his former opponent was Hillary Clinton. You want to talk about obstruction? This is facts.
Right.
She white acid 33,000 emails and she took hammers to a bunch of Blackberries. That's fact. The other thing is, at the time, the lead FBI, James Comey, he actually, he's on, we can even play the tape. He's on tape in an interview saying that there's a ton of evidence there to take action, but at this time, it just wouldn't make any sense. Now, I don't know what he meant. That was it because it was an election year, so on and so forth. But even Comey said that there was more than enough evidence uh, to prosecute Hillary Clinton. However, I'm not going to go down that path. And the fact that Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, and um, Joe Biden's Department of Justice, the fact that they took this path, that's the issue that I have, because former presidents I mean, no one had more of a reason to go after one of their political opponents than Donald Trump did against Hillary. He could have made her life hell. And this is the appreciation that he gets in return. Think about it. She's the one that came up with the Russian hoax and the collusion and all of that. So there's damning evidence there. But this is the former president of the United States in an election year. No one was harmed. Uh, Everybody knows Donald Trump's personality. Um, and at the same token, guys, right? Um, you have to give him credit. You have to. If you're intellectually honest, you have to give the former president credit. His gut instincts are probably one of the best you have ever seen in your life. I mean, what has he been wrong about? Pretty much every one of his predictions and his instincts come true. So let's not act as if the documents that are, in play here was going to hurt or possibly hurt this country, because no one's finger on a pulse is sharper than Trump, especially when he has to have instinctive qualities. So first, Slags, I want to ask you, is like, you know, the very fact of going down this path, right? Whenever so many others could have been prosecuted, you know, the fact that they let Bill Clinton finish his term, and then again, it's unbelievable like how much of a voice she still has, Hillary Clinton. I cannot believe that people can't grasp 33,000 emails on a different server and smashing Blackberries at the time. Take it away, Slags.
Well, the reason that they can't grasp it is because of why? Because of the double standard that exists for the two parties. Um, if it's quite evident now, if it wasn't before, even for the ones who maybe had their head in the sand, it's quite evident now that there's a double standard that exists and has for quite some time. It's led by the media that drives the narrative, and that protects the corruption that exists on the left. And the scary thing is what's happening now is the people really need to stand up and take notice is this situation that's happening right now that we're witnessing is opening the door. And you said it yourself. It's a Pandora's box. It's actually opening the door for don't think for a minute that in the future this isn't going to rear its ugly head again, because now it's weaponized to the point where both parties are going to use it against whoever's running. So in other words, you can see in the future where the Democrats, for instance, are going to go after a Republican candidate. They will hire whoever they can to dig into the past of the person that's running for president, anything at all that they can find. And they're going to move to try and prosecute to the nth degree to try and keep the opposition from being successful in its attempt to win the election. It's going to be a circus. It's going to be a clown show from here on out. And you know what? The people who don't see this, who fail to recognize what's going on, are the ones to blame. You're the ones to blame for this because you refuse to think for yourselves. You allow yourself to be misled by the media. You allow yourself to be a sheep that doesn't think and just takes whatever you hear on TV as gospel and the truth. And you're not asking why. Yet if you step back and look at everything that Trump has said Salts, just like you said before, everything that he's predicted has come true. Everything this man has said is true. Going back to the China virus, right?
Yeah.
Didn't you say that they found patient zero, and there's
Ye-
irrefutable proof that yes, this originated in Wuhan in a lab. It was man-made and basically weaponized. Everything that Trump was saying is true
ye-
on that front.
Yep. No longer a conspiracy theory. That's fact now. Like the patient's zeros came out from the Wuhan lab, um, and you laid that out really, really nice. But uh, so everything you just said, here's the crazy part about it, right? And the scary thing about it is you said it's going to lead to a circus. Um, I mean, everything that you just laid out, you basically said that that's it. America empire has fallen. That's the end of America.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
I mean, if
yeah,
that happens,
unfortunately, that's what I see. You know,
and I mean, so you're basically saying America is finished unless um, people wake up from uh, and this is one election, folks. It really, and we don't even know if Trump's going to be the candidate, and for that matter, even Biden. We can get into that as well. But uh, let's just say it's Biden, Trump. The only way you save this country is basically saying, "Look, Russian hoax versus Hunter's laptop. Hun- Hunter's
Gosh
laptop
dang
is."
it. Why are we always stuck in the middle of these two douchebags? We're
But
always it's always one extreme or the other, man. It's like, gosh dang it, just put somebody in there that we all could get along with, you know? Jeez, man.
well,
well,
and that's
Mr. P, we that's something we touched on the previous episode. You know, with RFK Jr. You know, is he the answer?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Salts was still hibernating for that episode. But
no. I mean,
yeah,
we
we
could
let's touch
definitely
base because
get into RFK for sure.
yeah,
But but
RFK,
but
man. Oh my
but
goodness.
but before we get into RFK, um, I mean, what Sleggs just basically said is we're going to be a banana republic. Uh, we're just going to be politically divided, and it's just going to be, um, you know, who, do you guys know who Sammy the Bull is from
Oh yeah.
the guy? He made he made a point in one of his interviews, and he said that you guys come after us, you know, but meanwhile, and he said himself, he's like, meanwhile, Comey should be in jail, Hillary should be in jail, and all these politicians, etc. But you guys make the laws against the people. And he basically, this is what he said. He said, the way I see politics today is the Democrats are one mafia family, the Republicans are another mafia family. The president is the made man. The independents are another mafia family. Uh, he was basically saying, like, the real crimes are happening on Pennsylvania Avenue in
Wow.
the nation's capital. He said, if they stopped doing crimes, there would be less people like me. And think what a deep comment that is. If they stop doing crimes in Washington, Wall Street, etc., right? There would be less crimes on the streets. And it really, really is a home run to me. Uh, how much sense that makes. And you guys are conforming laws for you to get rich, for you to be protected, which leaves us no choice on the streets to do what we got to do to survive. So you guys are actually the mob bosses and the mafia families. Um, and as Sleggs was saying, um, that's where it gets scary because if you get a Republican president, is he now going to go after um, the Biden crime family? Because, I mean, let's go to Joe Biden. We can't ignore it. I mean, you just cannot ignore it. I just said Hunter's laptop versus the Russian hoax, right? Which one was true? Uh, Joe Biden going to Ukraine, okay? He went to Ukraine to bribe and get the prosecutor fired. You want $1 billion? You first have to fire the prosecutor that's going after Hunter. I got 10 minutes. Do you guys know which interview I'm talking about?
I do.
Yeah. Uh, Literally, and he's sitting there. If you want to bring it up, pull it up, you can play it, Mr. P. But he's sitting there and saying, basically, he's saying, if you guys want the $1 billion, fire the prosecutor who's coming after my son, Hunter. Okay, Ukraine. This is way back when he was a vice president. He was playing games with Ukraine. Okay, so was that true? Or Trump gets impeached because he put the nation at risk talking to the Ukrainian president? And once again, we find out, right, when the transcript came out, of his conversation with the president of Ukraine, there was nothing. Nothing. So the list can go up and down. Joe Biden, on the day that they arraigned Donald Trump, Senator Grassley comes out. And again, we have to be intellectually objective. Whether he's Republican or Democrat, he's a respected senator. He's a respected senator. And proof for $5 billion for Joe Biden. And they asked Joe Biden about the $5 billion. And he's like, where's the money? You know who else used that line to a T when they accused him of racketeering money? Literally used the same exact line. They asked him, uh,
Sounds like
how,
something a mob boss would say.
yeah, Al Capone. He got that line from Al Capone.
Jeez.
Where's the money? That's exactly what Joe Biden said. So one family has profited from Washington, D.C. politics. That's a fact. Okay. One family has profited before he was even a president. Now, the other family has lost his name, has lost half the country, and has been going through hell and back since 2016. And they're still coming after him. And that's where Slags, when he started in the top of the first, when he said that the fear is the deep state. And we can lead to RFK because RFK came out and said it. He said that I have no doubts that the CIA was involved with my father's killing and my uncle's killing, meaning Robert Kennedy and
John F. Kennedy.
John F. Kennedy, dumbass.
Well, let's I mean, it's not all bad for Trump. You know, he's raised $7 million since his indictments.
Yeah,
Since just last week, he raised $7 million in donations. I mean, That's pretty dang good, man.
And the impressive thing about when Trump raises money, it's coming from his base, right? So it's not coming from like gigantic donors, or from like
Right.
a bank, or like I said, like investment, like Goldman
Tech
Sachs.
companies. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's coming from these blue collar workers chipping in 25, $50, etc. That's what makes it so impressive. The volume that that he's raising. But I mean, it just blows my mind, even the three of us talking, that we have accepted it as this is America today and it's normal. That a former president can go to jail in an election year when he is the leader of his party's primary, and his political opponent is going after him, even well after um, the election of 2020. And if that's the case, and if that's the new precedent, I'm hoping, I, Slags, I really, really, I put it at less than a 1% chance that Trump would go after. I think he's going to go after um, the the agencies, but I don't think he's going to go after uh, political heads like Biden or Hillary. I just don't see him doing that. He's about fixing America. He's not going to. Trump does a lot of petty things like on Twitter, etc. But when he has a plan in place, for him, everything is speed, time, um, accomplishment. I
Yeah,
just,
I agree with that. Yeah.
yeah, I just think that's one of the reasons that made him. And again, look, guys, I voted for Obama. I have voted Democrat more than I have voted Republican. But again, you know, uh, my father always told me that if you get in a debate or any condition or situation, you have to be, or are you going to lose yourself emotionally? If you go into the stock market, if your stock is going down, right? Don't be delusional. Be intellectually honest. The company's losing money. The company is losing momentum. They're losing clients. So why keep your head buried in the sand? And to go back to what I want to say, he was a good president for everyone. And you cannot refute that. You cannot refute that. Whereas, you know, I mean, again, Democrats, liberals, you guys are uh, the ones that are plummeting Joe Biden's approval. It's you guys, 80%, I think it's 70 or 80% of Democrats want to see uh, another candidate, and 80% of the Democrats want to see uh, debates. So now it's a two. I'm going into two prongs, right? One, I mean, he's doing things that have never been done before because we're not a banana republic. Trying to throw a president in jail, one, and then number two, the DNC comes out and says there will be no debates on the Democratic side. How are you supposed to know someone's ability, a negotiating ability? I mean, that's what a president is. He's a speaker for the country. That's what the president is. He's a speaker for the country. So how do we know about the other candidates if they're able to, negotiate, if they're able to speak to another world leader? Will they get intimidated? Will they not get intimidated? What's their plans for the economy? It's, I mean, this is Fidel Castro type of stuff. This is like, Mr. P, that when you said, I mean, this This is mob. I mean, this is like being the leader of a mob. I'm throwing my political opponent in jail, and the ones on my side that want to challenge me, they're not allowed to be heard. Literally. I mean,
Yeah, I
so
mean, I just don't
this is
see
much
like
more than a
I have
circus. It's much more than a circus.
yeah.
I mean, and
I have
I
to
mean,
add
I thought Slags painted a Picasso. I mean, it was beautifully said, but I mean, he's indirectly saying that's the end of America.
yeah, but I gotta add some optimism here, dude. Like they let's be real, it's not the end of America. Maybe it looks like that way, but man, from what I've seen, the general consensus, I'm in a blue state, right? And if I could find Republican buddies to chat it up with,
Hmm.
it's I mean, that's really rare, right? Um, and I've been finding them. I've been talking to people, and the general consensus, I talk to a lot of people every day. Um, and most of them just do not like what's happening with Biden. They would rather go the other way. And some of them even voted for Biden
In
and want to
Seattle, they
retract
do
their
go
vote.
the other way.
Yeah, they definitely go the
They
other
go
way.
both
What
ways.
they go both ways for sure. For sure. That's a completely different topic. But I
Yeah.
mean, you know, at least we're not, at least I'm not wearing no tuck friendly swimsuits. But look, we'll
You
leave.
sure about that?
Jeez.
We'll get into that in a second. But go ahead. Go ahead.
But yeah, so I mean, I think that what has gone on with Trump is just shifting the mindset of Americans and helping people realize what's in front of them
I
and
mean,
how
that's such a great point. That
well
is
not
such a great point. Yeah.
well
Go
not
ahead.
just that, but what a polished politician looks like, right? Because
Mhm.
remember Biden came in as the savior. He came in as that guy that's going to bring America together, that
Yeah.
guy that's going to be the other side of the spectrum. Dude comes in and signs a LGBTQ thing, the first thing he does, and starts throwing, um, haymakers at Trump, right?
Yeah.
Dude,
A1.
the complete opposite of someone that's gonna bring the country together, right? He fooled everyone. Everyone was fooled. The only people that he didn't fool was the people that have known him and his ways and the fact that he's a polished politician and this is what he does for a living. He's basically a, A-list celebrity that can fool you into anything, into any character that he wants to play. And that's
Uh,
essentially what people are waking up to. Like, look, this is like
you,
we all got fooled.
but
We
I
all got
heard
fooled, and this is what the results are. So
so, and I love everything you said. However, um, you're basically uh, in Slags. You can take it from here. Um, if there's true optimism, I mean, you made such a great point. You made such a great point, Mr. P. Um, but basically, everything that you said means in order for what you just said to be true, the Republicans must win the presidency. Because if they don't, then it didn't wake enough people up. Can the liberals, Democrats go and say, for this election, I gotta be on the side of intellectually honest and objective?
well, it's not like one is more honest than the other. Let's be real, both sides are pretty corrupt and downright liars when, I mean, let's just be real. Both
Uh,
sides are pretty bad. But yeah, the
you're, but
Democrats, they have a lot
you're
more
right.
baggage, but
You're right. But I mean, this is unprecedented.
I get your point for sure.
The things that one side is doing versus the other. Again,
Right,
right? Okay,
right.
both are mafia families, right? And what's the rule of the mafia? You never kill a made
Attack the
man.
family or the families, yeah.
Yeah, you never kill the made man.
Mhm.
Trump did not go after Hillary. Biden comes in and goes after Trump. So now this is if the Legos fall. That's what Slags, you won't have a head left. But if the dominoes fall, right? If the dominoes fall, I'm sorry, it's on the Democrats because they chose this path that the Republicans did not choose when they were in office and when Trump was in office. So
Right.
you're there's corruption on both sides without a doubt.
It kind of
But
sucks that we're generalizing the Democrats, right? Because like let's just say a guy like RFK comes out, he has great policies. He looks great. All the stuff that he's talking about actually makes him sound like a Republican. But then when it comes to his party association, he's a Democrat, so we're generalizing him with the whole kind of establishment and all the bad stuff that happens with the Democrats
yeah,
and
and
their
you're
control.
right. That's another great point. I mean, we should actually just say Trump, right? The Trump family versus the Biden family.
Pretty
Um,
much.
yeah, but again, right? If we're objective, and think of all the rumors, like all the rumors that was made about Trump. I'm talking crazy rumors. You guys know about the PP video rumor. Do you guys know about that?
No, what's that?
Just Google Trump PP rumor. Right? Crazy. They said
I'm afraid to look into the images section of Google here. Trump peepee, huh?
it's unbelievable that and people believed it. People believed it. The same way they believed that Trump was a Russian spy, a 70-year-old guy that's, you know, been a realtor his whole life in America, and he's building America. He's building as many buildings, et cetera, and casinos and businesses, and uh, uh, supplying nothing but hundreds of thousands of jobs. Uh, and people believed he was a Russian spy. Like, there's no shame on what I'm saying is, where is the shame? Like, how do you make up these type of lies over and over and over again? It's as Slags is pouring out the China virus, like every single thing. Um, yeah, they said that he was with a Russian hooker and uh, he let her pee on him,
Well,
and
they did a similar thing to Tulsi Gabbard, right?
they said
The
that they have it on video, etc. I mean, it
yeah,
crazy. I mean,
not the pee thing, but
yeah, I mean, this is unprecedented stuff. It's just unbelievable. And the thing is, it's not stopping. It just keeps going. And that's why I said, well, for your theory to be correct, for there to be that optimism would mean that, and I agree. I agree with RFK, with the exception of RFK, right? With the exception of RFK, you're basically saying if that optimism is true and people are waking up, that either a Republican or RFK wins. And everything that RFK is saying, I think we all need to listen to. I mean, I think Biden needs to pay attention. Don't let that voice. I was going to say, don't let that voice scare you, but every time I think of Biden, I think of Star Wars and a lightsaber coming out. That's RFK. I mean, no, like literally, I think he's going to take a swipe at me, right? When he starts talking, I'm looking up and down, like, where's the lightsaber?
that's fucked up.
But
Oh man, that's terrible, dude.
you take the Star Wars character and all the Republicans, you're basically saying that's one of those guys needs to win. If it truly represents that America has awoken, that we have a corrupt Department of Justice, the corrupt deep state. And as Slade said, I mean, he opened up the show by saying that's why they're scared of Trump, that Trump would uh, come after. Well, Slags, do you? And I know you said that you don't think he'll go after political heads. What do you think Trump would do if he wins?
I
Does
think
he?
he'll go after the agencies 100%. I really do because I believe that he knows that that is the more damning uh, and as a result more dangerous to our country than what you know the opposing political party has done. Regardless, I mean, if your own agencies are in cahoots with the deep state, then where is our protection? Because they're going to be bought off by anything if that's the case.
So,
That's real danger.
do you think? Do you think you just completely execute it and throw it into a fire pit and then start two new agencies from scratch?
I mean,
Or
that would be my thought, but it's so inconceivable. I mean, think about it. It's so inconceivable that something like that could happen. I mean, would he even be able to get away with it? I fear for the guy's life, to be honest with you. If something like that's going to happen, because again, going back to RFK, and he knows for a fact, because personally he's had to live through it on two different occasions, that I mean, let's face it, if they can get to, you know,
Mhm.
and who can't they get to, right? So, I
Right.
mean, there's nothing that's saying that Trump walks away from that unscathed. Um, I fear for him because would he be successful in doing so? I don't. I have doubts that he would even come close to bringing down the agencies. There would
Oh,
have to be a lot of things and a lot of cooperation on a lot of fronts for that to happen. Almost in a sense that you would have to see the political parties unify behind him in order to successfully execute something like that where he was able to take down the agencies, and I just don't see that happening. There's too much corruption in the deep state for that to happen.
so this is becoming more of a Van Gogh painting where it's more on the sad side. Uh,
And I feel like, you know, Trump doesn't necessarily see it as he needs to take the agency down to be successful. I feel like if he has enough exposure to it, that it creates doubts in the minds of the American people that he would feel like he was successful, if that makes sense. You know
yes.
what I mean? It's almost like
Yeah.
it's almost as if you say, well, like let's equate this to the OJ Simpson trial, right? There was enough evidence there brought forth where even though OJ was found not guilty, I think the general consensus, if you walked up to any person in the street, they would say
Mhm.
he's guilty as hell. And
Sure.
I feel
Sure.
like Trump, if he was able to expose some of the corruption, not some of, but the actual corruption that exists in the agencies,
Mhm.
that the damning part and the successful part for him would be the damning part coming out into the open of the agencies and what they do, um, what their corruption, where it exists, so that the American people are like, we don't trust the agencies anymore. So even if he wasn't able to bring them down, I feel like in his mind he would be successful if the American people just turned their backs on supporting and trusting the agencies, if that makes sense.
Man, yeah, those were some great points. Um, to unpack that first, with Trump's safety level, I want to hear your take on it. Not to put anyone on the spot, but it'd be interesting to hear, both of your thoughts. There's no doubt they fear Trump, and there's no doubt that there's never been a man that has been treated like this. Uh, it's in America, right? In politics, it's mind blowing. But and in I agree. The safety and the danger level is probably 11 out of 10. Um, do you think they're exhausting everything, and if he beats the indictment, then they go? I mean, then they go for the bullet and put a target on him, or do you think that if you put a target on Trump, should you assassinate the former president, you have martyred him for eternity. And that would absolutely, absolutely make every Democrat, every blue person, you know, stay up at night, for the rest of their lives, because you're going to see nothing but, Trump statues, Trump merchandise. I mean, he's going to get martyred to a level that we probably can't even comprehend.
No, I would agree with that. I would think that he would definitely be martyred uh, by his
But
supporters if that happened. But
that's half the country. That's a
that's
lot
half
of
the
people.
country. Yeah, for sure.
So
But there's such heavy opposition to him on the left that hell, you know, they'd be celebrating like they did when we killed bin Laden, you know? So,
I agree. I agree, but they'll celebrate, but he'll still be martyred. Where
oh, yeah,
you
yeah.
you
No
go on a
doubt.
you go on a road trip, you're gonna. I'm not talking for just a year or two. I'm talking for the rest of your life. You take a road trip, anywhere you go, you will see Trump
Yeah,
in some shape or form. You
yeah,
will,
yeah.
because that's just too many followers. So, do you think the Democrats fear that, or do you think no, they're just so arrogant, they'll just load up the gun and we've exhausted everything. This guy, the only way to stop him is a bullet,
A great question. That's a tough one to answer. I'm not sure. I really don't know. Um,
because
I
they
mean,
just
part of me feels like they despise him so much that they just take their chances and just say that he's finally gone and that, who cares if he's martyred because we don't have to deal with him anymore.
but you do. Your children do, and your grandchildren do.
Yeah.
Dad, who's that statue? Dad,
Yeah.
who's that?
Well, I mean, the cancel culture will just, for every statue that goes up, they'll rip it down, you know?
I'm talking in the red states.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
There, there's a lot of red states. Everything will be, Trump Avenue, this, Trump this. I mean, that's my only. And I say, I mean, his danger level is 11 out of 10 because
Yeah.
everything. I mean, they're throwing everything at this guy that you can ever imagine.
Right.
But um, would they? I mean, could you imagine if Trump was to be martyred, how that would look? I'm telling you. I mean, you go to these red states and you know it. The love and passion for him. This might be a bold statement, but the love and passion for him, the voter for Trump, is right there for the love and passion for Barack Obama.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really, I mean, I feel that. I feel that. Um, so, I mean, shifting off a little bit, is Mr. P? You think they'd ever shoot? You think they'd ever load up the gun?
Who? Who's gonna shoot what?
You
You're gonna
think?
shoot your load every time you look at a picture of another man. Pride Month, we gotta celebrate it.
Here
Let's
he
go.
comes, RFK, the Emperor.
Oh, that's so bad. That is so bad.
Uh, I love him. I like
Oh
him.
I
my
do too.
gosh. I love him too, man, but
Yeah.
oh man.
I mean, can
Ah.
you? Okay, so
So if Trump got martyred, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I would see something um, similar to how Putin calls out Stalin and looks up to Stalin, right?
Hmm.
So it's very similar to that. So how future presidents would essentially look up to,
Yeah.
to Trump. So his name would it'll probably help his legacy, if anything, to
Oh,
be
for
honest.
sure,
So
for sure,
yeah,
for sure. I mean,
yeah.
they always say, right? I mean, one of my favorite sayings ever, and this is what happened to Joe Biden, right? Either you die a hero or you live long enough to become the villain, right?
Hmm.
You're around long enough, I mean,
But Salt, off
you start
air,
getting jaded.
dude,
Yeah.
off air, you said something crazy that would that would put Biden on a pedestal.
Yeah. So I'll get to that. Yeah. I'll go. Okay. So what do I think? Thanks for bringing that up. I appreciate that. And then I want to hear what you guys think of that. So this is how I think it also. So we finish the Trump indictment and move on to, the candidates running the election, and then we'll have Slags take a look at the odds. But yeah, off camera, um, I was saying this is how I see it playing out, right? Uh, and this is how much better the Democrats are at playing the game. Now, again, folks, don't jump into saying we're conspiracy theorists. What do we always say here? This is the home of next level thinking. Regardless of Trump being guilty, I think he would get a pardon from the Republican side. But I told off camera to Slags and Mr. P, I said, you want to know who would be the first person to pardon Donald Trump? Which would raise his presidency, it would raise his legacy, and he would be known as the biggest unifier. Joe Biden. I will bet, I will bet anything with anyone, that Joe Biden pardons Donald Trump. He's going to give a speech, right? My God, this guy, oh, I mean, can he give a speech? Like this guy, I just want a president that looks hydrated, right? I mean, he looks like he's so dehydrated that he eats and shits chalk. Like that's how dried up he is. I mean, this dude is shitting chalk. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's I mean, I just want to see someone that's got like lively skin or it's hydrated, okay, but I'm saying he gives a speech and he says it's now time to unify the country, and that's why we will pardon the former president.
That won't
Oh
happen.
my
That
god.
I'm sorry, there's a 0% chance of that happening.
You think Joe Biden will let him rot and die in jail?
Yes. You know why? Because Joe Biden doesn't even call the
Oh,
shots anymore. He hasn't during this entire time he's been elected. He's a mere puppet. And the
that
people
shit's
that are
chalk.
yes, and the people that are controlling those strings would never allow that to happen.
Wow. And okay, so the listeners are going to say, well, who are you talking about? Are you talking about the thinking tanks? And there's a saying, right, that every president thinks they're going to get their agenda done until they get their first briefing, and then 10 guys in dark suits sits down and says, "No, this is how we're going to run your presidency." So, do you think it's the 10 guys in dark suits that's has sat down with Joe Biden? And because this is definitely not the Joe Biden that we've been accustomed to for 50 years. Joe Biden was always down the middle. Joe Biden was always down the middle. I did not know.
And that should
I
answer your
know.
question right there. If you
Yeah,
say he was always down the middle, and
he
look at his
was.
presidency now, though, he
He
is
was.
far
Now he
left.
wants to. Yeah, now he wants to be in the middle of every man's legs. It's unbelievable. I never knew. I never knew he wanted to smell balls. Like
Yeah.
we know that he likes to smell, girls' hair, and and
Nah,
we've seen that stuff.
let's not get it twisted. He's a pedophile. He likes to smell little children.
So, but I didn't know that he likes to smell balls,
Right.
sweaty ones.
Right.
Now, that was never the Joe Biden, uh, that I saw as a vice president, even as a senator in Delaware. So I agree with you. I agree with you. Now, those guys that are pulling the string, are you talking about the military uh, powerhouse, the deep state combination of that?
Yeah,
I
I
agree
do.
with that. I do. I agree with that. Now, are you excusing Biden for everything that's happening? Or I'm
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think he is the reason that we're experiencing such trauma, dissension, and chaos in this country. Because as the president, you're supposed to be the leader of the greatest country in the free world. He has bumbled this opportunity like he bumbles every speech he tries to give. He is he is incompetent to the nth degree to be in a position that he's in. And I'm
but
sorry, but it goes back to the fact that people were scared of Trump being in office, and they pulled no they pulled out all the stops. They stopped at nothing to prevent him from getting reelected. I thought it
but
was going to be a slam dunk for Trump to get reelected when Biden won the nomination, because he was so, just, you could tell back then that
he
this
was
guy was a clown.
he was dehydrated then, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
he was a mummy.
the Mummy, God, he would break every single. I mean, okay, but getting back to your point from a couple of minutes ago. At one point, you're saying there's 10 guys pulling the strings in dark suits. This is the agenda.
No, but the reason that it's his fault is because he has no spine to tell them, double middle
Okay,
finger, I'm
yeah,
doing what
I,
needs to be done. He has no
I
balls. He
got
has
you.
no spine.
I got you. Great point. Great point. Wow. Okay, so I mean, so yeah, so he doesn't get a pass. So at the end of the day, you're saying that um, at the end of the day, that if the president has spine, he would look at those 10 people and fight for his agenda. And
Yeah.
at minimal, they'll come to the middle, right? Because I agree with you. There's no doubt, you know, you want to call it thinking tanks, whatever you want to call it. There's upper level um, elitists, or I don't know, how you want to frame it, that's um, running the government. Um, and we see it now in the open, right? But we didn't see it 30 years prior. Now we see it with George Soros. So uh, just one man that has money. Look at how much power that he had. I mean, he absolutely destroyed New York and Los Angeles by bringing in crime. Um, you make some really good points you're making here. So you've gotten a lot of hits today. So okay, um, yeah. I mean, again, everyone, thank you so much for listening to Profits and Ballers. We have so much exciting things coming up. Near term and long term. Stay with us, please. Tell everybody about us. Please help us with the algorithms. It's all about the algorithms. You gotta like us, leave comments wherever you listen to the podcast. It only helps us, folks, and we're asking, please. Um,
Not to mention, you're gonna get to see our fat ass faces on YouTube here pretty soon. So
Yeah, it's gonna. We have really, really exciting stuff coming on tap for you guys, where you'll see that okay, these guys cover the full spectrum of topics that in everyday life that people run into, and
yeah, every part of LGBTQ.
yeah, uh, that that okay. Let's get to the. I mean, we wrap this up. So you don't think Trump gets a? Do you think Trump gets a pardon from the Republican side?
I do
Slaves,
100%. Absolutely. Without question.
because there would be too much pressure, or do you think
Just
that?
because the Republican side knows this is bullshit and it's wrong. That's
Okay.
why. So it doesn't matter if it's DeSantis or whoever. I 1000%
What if it
think
was
the
what,
pardon.
what if it was Chris Christie?
I won't even reply to that.
I, well, I guess the answer to that is well, he's a Democrat.
You right?
Yeah.
Is he even on the odds list?
Okay, let's
Uh,
go. Let's go to the odds. Let's take a look at who Trump needs to beat. We all know he's 30 points ahead of DeSantis. What does that mean? So, what's the odds of Trump winning his primary? And then let's take a look at uh, the Star Wars going up against Biden. So, what's Star Wars' odds and Mary Ann Williamson
so
on the left
the
side?
so the latest that I'm seeing for the presidential odds, and this is from a day ago. Biden's at plus 150,
Okay.
and Trump is at plus 275, and DeSantis is at plus 450. And then in fourth place right now, who has shot up the boards when we first saw it. We actually, Mr. P and I, if you go to the last episode, we put the odds on the last episode. RFK Jr. at plus 1600. Yes, old lightsaber voice himself.
he was at
Um,
he was at plus what?
he's right now at plus 1600. But when we
Okay.
first in our last episode, Mr. P, you'll have to check me on this, but I believe he was at like plus 4,000 or 4,500, somewhere in that
Oh
neighborhood.
wow.
And he's
Wow.
up to plus 1,600 now.
Okay. All right. I
Um,
see you.
And
yeah.
Mary Ann Williamson,
Um,
is she even on?
no, she's
They're
not
not
even
even.
on there.
They're not even.
Nope.
Okay, so folks, as you guys know, when we say politics is our passion, sports is our living, and God is a given, sports is literally our living. So we know the sports market inside out. Like when we say Vegas odds, uh, that's us, like literally. So where I want to break it down, I want to ask you, Slags, plus 275 and plus 450 is not that big of a difference. Let's just say Trump is plus 300 and DeSantis is plus 400 or plus four and a half. That's tight.
No, that's super tight. And here's the other tell
So what
for
is that
those.
telling us?
Well, I think that Vegas is looking at it from a standpoint of they're Vegas, the books you can argue are not backing um, Biden to win the election because anybody that understands odds and how to read odds, you have Joe Biden, his odds to win the election at plus 150. He's already sitting as president. So he doesn't even have to, historically speaking, the sitting president never had to worry about winning his party's nomination for reelection, right? So they
So,
would historically be in a negative favorite to win the next election, right? Because historically speaking, your sitting president has been reelected on most occasions, not every occasion, but they don't have to go through the process of winning their party's nomination. So when you look at Trump and DeSantis and where they're sitting at and how tight that is, The mere fact that they're plus, like you said, rounded up to, to plus 300, plus 400, or 3-1 and 4-1. I mean, those are, that's super tight. And that's actually saying that, hey, we think that, you got a 3-1 chance that Trump's going to be the next president. I mean, that's assuming he even wins his party's nomination, right?
Right.
And that's what puts him
So
at that spot. And that is I mean, that's kind of telling in my
so
opinion.
so I want to break this down. The other thing that I'm reading is, and this is crazy, but look, uh, we know, right, firsthand, Vegas doesn't pass out free money. Okay, so we know Trump is 30 points ahead of DeSantis. So tell our listeners, if you put $100 down on Biden and $100 down on Trump, how it's impossible for them to lose money.
Yeah, because if you put $100 down on each, right? So $100 wins you 150 if Biden gets the wins the
Okay.
2020 nomination. But if you put
And
$100 down on each candidate, you're going to lose $50, right?
well, if Trump wins at plus 275,
Then you
you
win money. Yeah, you win $75 if you put 100 on
yeah,
each candidate.
yeah. So you're either winning 75 or you're winning 50.
No,
No
no,
matter
you're losing 50 if you bet 100 on Biden and 100 on Trump because Biden's plus 150 on his odds. So $200 is going to net you 150.
so you put 100 on Biden, 100 on Trump. Trump wins. You
Trump wins, you'll win $75 total.
Yeah, because you lose your own 100.
Yeah.
Okay. So Biden wins, you pick up you pick up plus 150, but then you lose your own 100. So you still pick up $50.
No, because you're betting 100 on Biden and 100 on Trump.
Yeah. So I get back 150
And
on
then,
Biden, subtract the 100 that I lost on Trump.
oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. My bad.
God, there's so much butter down your throat.
Somebody bring out the Texas Instruments calculator.
Yeah, no,
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 Salt is right. So you win
yeah,
$50 if Biden wins. You win 175 if uh,
yeah.
Trump wins.
What's that telling you? What's that telling you?
Yeah, Vegas isn't going to put themselves in a position
There
to
is no
lose.
way. That's telling me that they think DeSantis is going to be your Republican nominee.
Yeah,
Because who isn't doing that right now? With Trump 30 points ahead, you're guaranteed a return if it's Trump versus Biden.
yeah,
So I'm here to say, folks, we're going to get a surprise.
yeah.
We're going to get a surprise. That puts, Star Wars in play
Yep,
without a doubt. And
yep.
16 to 1 is not that, I mean, 16 to 1 is fairly low for only getting 20% support right now.
Especially when you consider where he was, a month ago when he first announced his uh, that he was running.
So, okay, on the Republican primary, do you have those numbers?
I Give me 2 seconds.
Yeah, do they even have it's for the Republican primary? Like, is Trump minus 250? Is he minus 300? Okay, the other thing I'm putting together is the Trump and DeSantis
Okay,
number.
so
Okay,
my
good.
bad, my bad. So right now Trump is minus 215 and
To win the
DeSantis is plus 250 to win the Republican nomination.
Okay, what do you think about that plus 250? Do you think that's too low for being down that much, or you think it's pretty fair?
Uh, I think, to be honest, I think that's a little heavy, to be honest with you. I feel like that's it should be a little tighter than that. Biden, on the other hand, is minus 500, which makes sense because he's already
Wow.
president.
Yeah. But still, wow.
Kennedy, RFK Jr. is only plus 800.
Wow.
To me, that's
I mean, from a professional standpoint, the obvious doesn't look obvious, Biden versus Trump. But but when you see Trump at plus 275 and DeSantis plus 450 to win the presidency, I think that's just respect that
right.
DeSantis can win the general election
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and
yeah.
Trump would struggle.
Right.
That's kind of been always the accepted case that Trump can cruise through the primaries, but he's
Yeah.
just he's
And
just a
that's a great point you make right there. That he's going to have a tougher time winning the nomination versus winning the presidency.
y-
That makes complete sense in what you're saying.
yeah, yeah. So he's a primary superstar, but the general election, that's where he gets his challenges. Where uh, do you think DeSantis can win uh, the general election? There's
Oh,
no doubt
without a
he can.
doubt.
There's no doubt he can win the primary, right? It's just there's so many things happening in Trump's world that um, if DeSantis was to climb up, right, that wouldn't be a big surprise.
No, not
Um,
at all.
I mean, um, the other thing is from the other angle, when we say next level thinking, is do you think the Democrats intentionally want to face Trump, knowing in a general election they can beat Trump, or do you just think no, they don't want him anywhere near uh, flirting with the White House?
Knowing that he might be going to jail? I mean, come on. That's a tough question, but I think it's a good question.
Hmm.
But if he, if he gets pressed on these charges, he could go to jail for 10 years or more, right? So, I don't know what happens then.
Yeah. Sleggs, my question is who do you think the Democrats want to face in a general election?
Uh, this anybody but Trump. I mean, the way they're going after him right now, anybody but Trump. They would rather face. I don't feel like they would
But
have any pressure. And I'm not saying that they would win, but I'm talking merely as the party, how the party thinks. I don't feel like they would feel as much pressure if anybody other than Trump won the nomination on the Republican side. I feel like that there's enough fear there that you wouldn't be seeing this witch hunt against Trump. Um,
but
if they felt like they could knock him off, you wouldn't be seeing all this stuff that he's having to go through right now.
well, they're not stupid either, right? Like I mean, like you said, right? There's other people pulling the string. I mean, these are thinking tanks. I
Right.
mean, every time there's an indictment, his number goes up. So
Yeah.
these
Well,
these
that's why
math
they're trying to get him arrested.
these mathematicians um, know trends. So they know we indict him, his numbers go up. We indict him, his numbers go up. So I mean, aren't they basically hand feeding him the nomination?
Yeah, but I feel like in their warped view of reality, they feel like if they can get him behind bars, then they eliminate his chances altogether.
Because because even in a world of calculation, right? It's almost next to impossible to get this trial done before the election.
Right. Yeah, that's a good
So
point. I mean, but
I
Can he
mean,
pardon himself?
yeah, yep, yep. I'm surprised how he didn't pardon himself from many allegations, right? And I know people will say, well, then he'll be presumed guilty. But no, I mean, now you see it. He should have just been just open. As you guys know, the media, right? And the narrative has always been to come after Donald Trump. They've already made up many hoaxes against me and fabricated uh, hoaxes against me. I'm doing this out of foresight to protect myself and my family. I want to pardon Donald J. Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Slags, we wouldn't know that. Had he pardoned himself, uh, would he have been immune to these charges or no?
What do you mean? You're saying if he pardons himself, would he be immune to those
No,
charges?
no. Had he had if
Oh,
he
oh, had he done that before, would he be?
yeah,
I
in
don't know, to be honest.
2020.
Yeah. I don't know if he would have been immune to that. That's something that
Yeah,
would have to research
probably
and
not,
find out.
right? Because these are developments after his president. No, no, no. That was during his presidency when he transferred the
Right.
documents, right? Because
Yeah.
doesn't Biden start on that day at 12 o'clock? That's when his presidency begins. Something like that. Yeah, in the
Oh,
afternoon.
I thought for some reason you were mentioning what time he wakes up.
That too. Yeah.
Like, oh, that's right. That's why he gets up at 12 o'clock.
Oh my goodness, man. Unbelievable. Um, yeah, yeah, I mean, he just fell last month at the Air Force Marines. Like
Yeah.
this guy's daily routine is he gets up at 1 p.m.,
Falls
e-
down.
eats breakfast at 2, shits chalk at 3, falls down at 5, has balls in his face at 8,
And
goes to
then he's
bed.
in bed at 9.
That's yeah, Kamala Harris's balls, right?
Yeah. Or Big Mike. Maybe she makes a return to the White House on
And that
Oh.
occasion.
concludes today's episode, folks.
Thanks for listening.
Guys, don't ever get offended here. We're comedians. We like to have fun with this. Um, welcome to Profits and Ballers for all you new listeners. We truly, truly appreciate you so much. Um, at the same token, we just like to slice and dice these things. And then, we try to put everything into one painting, and hopefully that painting is a little bit more clear for you. And hopefully it's from a different level of thinking. Um, don't take anything to heart. You get to know us, you'll know exactly the type of people that we are. But being intellectually honest and objective, what's going on is absolute craziness from the left side, trying to put a former president, a political opponent, currently in jail. And that's why Sleggs was saying that if this plays out, you're looking at the fall of America. But Mr. P said, if you take the lens of optimism, this is actually waking up many Americans. And we'll find out if people are waking up, and either Star Wars RFK goes into the White House or someone from the right. Um, what do you think? I mean, what do you think about the other candidates? Let's go through the other candidates real quick. I mean, um, do you do you like any other candidates? Okay, so obviously on the Democrat side, um, you have to almost love RFK, right? The Kennedys are just um, they just bring so much to the table. He brings a lot to the table, um, and he's in a nutshell, he's just trying to also expose the truth. He was really disturbed with what happened with, I think, what got him over the edge. Uh, my personal opinion is not the incompetence of Joe Biden. I take that back, because the wall and the illegal immigrants uh, really, really got him itching. But I think the itch started with the COVID virus. and the mandatory vaccines and the mandatory vaccine passports, etc., vaccine cards. I think that's what really tipped them over the edge. So basically, on the left, it's RFK is the only threat. Is that a fair comment to make? Um,
I
from
think
Yeah, I
so.
think so.
It's
I
yeah.
it's
think
only Marianne Williamson, Biden, and RFK. But on the
Okay.
Republican side, you have a lot more candidates.
Okay. So on the Republican side, uh,
Yeah, I can name them off, and we can
yeah,
go
yeah,
from
you
there.
name them off in Slags. Just say check mark or X. Just let me know your feelings on
Or
each.
how about one word from the both of you about what you think about them? So if I say DeSantis, give me one word that uh, would explain their chances of winning, or even a percentage. We could do percentage.
nah. Yeah, I'll just yeah, just do that.
Okay, cool. Let's do percentage. So DeSantis
To win
Oh,
what? The primary or
to
the
to
nom?
become president.
Oh, to become president.
Yeah, man.
I thought to beat Trump.
Oh well, yeah, that's a totally different. Yeah, I mean, yeah, just give
We'll
me a
just start at the
percentage.
yeah. Start with Trump then.
Okay, Trump
Salts.
Uh,
percentage to win.
45.
Win the presidency
45.
or the nomination for the Republican Party.
Sorry, Trump's 55, 55%, and I was gonna say DeSantis is 45.
For the party nomination or the presidency.
Uh,
Let's just do the presidency. Let's
Okay,
just
the
do the
presidency.
presidency.
That's
Okay,
fine.
So for 55% for Trump, and what about you for Trump, Jeff?
I would go a little bit higher. I'd say 60.
Okay, let's do Mike Pence.
0.
0.
All right, let's Tim Scott.
0.
I give him a 1% chance.
Nikki Haley.
0.
0.
Vivek Ramaswamy.
Less than 0.
Less than 0?
Yes.
No, okay. I'll be the 5% for him.
Okay.
Dude, I can already hear Trump in the debates with him.
No, that's
Can you
true.
imagine how Trump would address that?
Dude,
I think he's actually already said it. When people think of what America looks like, you're not that face.
oh no. Well, maybe he can become a VP. Who knows? Oh,
I,
speaking of faces. Oh, go ahead. Sal.
I love Vivek. I love him. Love
I
him.
do too, but I have less than a 0%
Yeah,
chance.
I
Zero,
love him.
zero from you too, Salt?
No, I give him 1%.
Okay, 1%. What about Chris Christie's fat face?
0.
Le-
0.
negative 500%.
Yeah.
I don't know who this guy is. Asa Hutchinson?
Then that
Yeah.
answers your question.
That answers your question.
Let's see. Doug Burgum
Billionaire Bergam.
from North Dakota.
Yeah. He's another 1%er.
He's not even showing up on the odds, so
Oh,
less than
geez.
0.
Yeah.
Larry Elder.
Listen, if Kanye West is on the odds and that dude's not, just move on. All right.
Yeah.
All right. This one's a good one right here, though. Francis Suarez, Miami mayor.
No. 0.
0, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
0.
All right,
I mean,
that's it. That concludes it.
because I mean, think about it, right? The Miami mayor is not going to beat the Miami or
Exactly.
the governor. Yeah. um, okay. So outside of, so obviously, I'll speak for myself. I want change. I
Yeah.
want change.
Yeah.
I don't want, I want someone hydrated that shits shit. Okay. I don't want a dehydrated president shitting chalk. Okay. That's my starting point.
Farting up dust bubbles.
Yeah. Or sharding.
Oh boy.
Right.
So, Uh, the shenanigans have to stop. The corruption needs to stop. We've covered it plenty. So I want change. Uh, on the left side, obviously, um, not only do I think, he's a great candidate, I love him, Star Wars, RFK, the Emperor. On the right side, I think it would be a travesty. This is just my opinion. Anyone but Trump um, to to win that nomination. Like, would you settle for someone else? Like, I couldn't on principle alone. Um,
Yeah,
I
because of what he's been through and
well,
all the he's overcome.
this is what I don't like. This is what I don't like, and
America
this is
loves a comeback story and an underdog, right?
yeah,
And so
yeah.
this
So I mean, tell me, guys, tell me if I'm crazy for this, but this is what I don't like. Okay, um, on the right side, um, including DeSantis. Okay, DeSantis served in Congress. Okay, keep in mind he served in Congress. So stay with me. Why I think it'd be a huge mistake if people pick DeSantis over Trump. Because what they see in DeSantis is we get Donald Trump's policies, but without the excess garbage. Okay. That's a dream come true for, for every person on the right, because everyone on the right's pretty much fed up with, I mean, Trump plays a lot of shenanigans. Um, just he just can't stop or hold himself. But then the others would say, well, it's his personality that makes him that strong. And that's what makes him that person that will, take on China, etc. But stay with me. Keep in mind, DeSantis has been in Congress before. He has served in Congress. The only outsiders in this race, is it Vivek, the only outsider?
I believe
Hutchinson,
so. Yeah.
uh,
sort of. I think Vivek.
Vivek's the only outsider, right?
No, I don't think he's an outsider. I think he might.
No,
Um,
he comes from the hedge fund world. He's never
yeah, and
been.
Harvard University and
Yeah.
Yale and yeah, I don't know, man. He can.
So, but
That's
he's
probably another reson for people not
Well,
to like
Trump's
him.
an outsider.
so
Yeah.
so so what I'm saying is, I just think Republicans, for them to continue marching forward, uh, if they're the party of America and not part of the swamp, they got to continue to stay with an outsider. Number one, and Vivek is an outsider. He's never been in politics, but here's my point. Okay, um, knowing that everyone entering the GOP race, they've all been in the swamp before. Not one of them. Think about it, right? Hutchinson's been there for probably 30, 40 years, like Biden. Chris Christie's been around forever. Um, name everybody else that you named. Mike Pence has been there around forever. Forever. These guys have been around. Not one of them ever mentioned or ever created the America First strategy. Where was DeSantis with America First strategy when he was in Congress? This is Trump's invention. America First, getting out of wars. I mean, and this was Trump's unconditional heart. It's Trump's message that he already proved in his first term, right? So what I'm trying to say is we know the America First is Trump's DNA. He's the modern day father of America First. So what bothers me is that you have all of these GOP guys running on Trump's policies, taking advantage of his personality baggage, basically saying, I am Trump's policies without Trump's personalities. It's like being a lazy politician, a grifter. Like, what do I mean? Look, we know the Republican turnout's going to be between 80 to 85 million, right? According to our polls. Trump got 75 million votes last time. So let's just say there's 80, let's just say it's 75 to 80 million GOP turnouts. Okay? Based on the percentage of the voters that will come out, of that 80 million, right? How many are registered and in the game for voting for America First because of Trump? I'd say at minimal 80%. That basically means 65 million of these voters have been energized to vote for American First agenda. It's American First agenda that the right wants. And that agenda only exists because of Trump.
Yeah. Yeah, he did in a sense bring to light the patriotism.
Yeah. So
Right.
again, we've been using the words if intellectually honest, intellectually objective, right? We know damn well that if Trump simply pushed his policies and had a good demeanor, he'd get a ton of independent and, yes, like Ronald Reagan, even Democrat voters. But he was never able to express his incredible America First policies with a lot of articulation, right? I mean, because he's not a politician, and he never used poetry, or he never sold America First agenda with empathy. Uh, but yet, all of these candidates who never ever once were pushing for America First are now trying to come in and piggyback off of Trump's base and voters. They know there's 80 million votes waiting for them. 80 million votes waiting for them because of one man. Look, it's kind of, and Trump built this, right? Trump built this. If I go to Emerald Agassi's restaurant, no chef can cook his food and understand his recipes better than Emerald Agassi because he's the inventor of the recipe himself. So if I have a football team, right, and my quarterback is the one that made the playbooks, why would I want another quarterback to quarterback the country versus the guy who made the playbook? Plus, he's tested, right? He is to be trusted that he will execute everything he says. In his first American policy, he proved it. So why would we want to risk someone else who never ever was able to build such a base, never mentioned all these policies before, never had a roster built? Trump put himself around people that were unbelievable. You saw the economy, you saw the changes. I mean, that would really make American voters look really low IQ. You're voting for someone hoping that it's Trump, meanwhile, Trump's staring you right in the face. You want Trump and he's staring at you, so pull the lever for him. He guaranteed that he would take the wars off the tables. He did. He guaranteed that he would take care of terrorism to the point that he took such great care of terrorism where he obliterated ISIS so quickly that Biden's got to create lies that the biggest threat to this country is American Talibans. Like literally, He's saying white supremacy. American terrorists are the biggest threat to this country. He's calling half the country radicals. He said he's going to get gas prices down. He actually got them down below 2. And the other thing is, guys, I'm just telling you guys, you cannot buy Donald Trump. You just cannot buy him. And if we are going down a fork, like Jeff laid out before, that this could be the fall of America, then there's only one guy. Now, again, even if it was RFK and Trump, right? The thing is one guy's been around politics his whole entire life. The other guy is an outsider, and I know Vivek said you can only be an outsider once. No, he's still an outsider. That's why, like Jeff's saying, that's why they're still going after him. And it just doesn't seem genuine to me. Like DeSantis would seem genuine, in my opinion, if he would have came back in 4 years. But how do you not think, okay, before announcing your candidacy, all of you guys said there's a problem with this election. So basically, all of you GOP candidates are saying that Trump should have had a second term. So why are you trying to steal the second term from him? That is so shady, in my opinion. I mean, honestly, and it's everyone's God-given right. It is. But like I said, conditions are different, right? Trump has damning evidence against him, but he's the former president, right? I'm sorry, guys. Life is not sunshine and rainbows. It's not fair. If you're the president of the United States, guess what? You do get to play by different rules. That's and the Democrats say this bullshit, no one's above the law. Please give me a break. Look at the guy in the White House. We can go on and on and on and on. How so many presidents were above the law. So there's something really, it really bugs me. It bugs me that you know that he deserved a second term, yet you're trying to steal the second term from him. So how does that make any sense? Versus, the beautiful thing would be if the GOP came together and said, you know what? We want to be on your White House staff. We want to get you across the finish line. We want you to get the second term. You're the inventor of America First, and you proved it. And we all thought that they took your second term away from you. DeSantis, all of them. All of them were about recounts and this and that. And now all of a sudden, they want to take, how else can I say it? It's like, okay, I'm a dad of 2 boys, okay? And let's just say I have a struggling business. And suddenly one of my sons created a strategy that exploded the business, while my other son was never a believer. And then the business continues to boom for 4 years. And then out of nowhere, the father gives the other son, who didn't bring in a single client, but gives him the business. Like, think how unfair that is. Trump built all the products that you see, meaning policies, right? He's the one that built this base. The 80 million base that we call the deplorables that Hillary says, right? When we talk about half the country, that's the half of the country that we're talking about that Trump built. And you're trying to come in and take it from him? That's a true politician to me. Why would you even want to dare take it from him? So you think you can do his playbook better than him? You think you can run Bill Belichick's plays better than him? You think you can run Andy Reid's plays better than him? So if you look at the Democrats, they don't have a growing expansion, and they have every reason to have 20 candidates jump in that race because they can make a phenomenal thesis why Joe Biden's not up for the job. It's obvious. But every single GOP candidate knows not only is Trump up for the job, he kicked ass in the job. The country is in this state and it's a fallen empire as soon as he left. And you don't want him to quarterback his own playbook? It just, I'm sorry. I mean, call me crazy, guys, but there's something wrong about anyone who wants to knock off Trump. That's just my opinion. And like I said, I love a lot of these guys, but if RFK comes, I'm voting for RFK over every single GOP because
I'm
I
with you.
trust them more. I
Yeah,
trust them more.
No, I'm
And
with you
I'll
100%.
be honest with you, that argument that you just laid out it should be required listening for the entire GOP. I'm serious, without a doubt. I mean, that you hit on so many points right there that how could you not be on Trump's side? And I'm with you. I'll do the same thing 100%. If Trump doesn't win the nomination, and it's RFK Jr. versus, let's say, DeSantis, I'm all in on RFK Jr.
So to finish this show, here's my question. The only person of all the GOP candidates that has already on record said he would pardon Trump is the only outsider, Vivek. He's on record. And did you guys see him in Miami the other day with his piece of paper?
Yeah.
Yeah, he said every GOP candidate needs to sign this. That if I become president, I will pardon the 45th president of the United States.
Yeah.
No one else has stepped up. Not even DeSantis, who's from Florida, who's supposed to be.
DeSantis is calling out Trump's stuff. I mean, he's not. Yeah. If anything, he's standing against Trump right now.
I mean, go ahead. You can fight him and try to win the nomination. But okay, and Sleggs, like everything I said, but what about this? I mean, I could have just saved all that time and said, want to know what the number one shady thing is? Oh, you cannot pull the lever for anyone who hasn't signed Vivek's paper.
Yeah, it's a great point.
Because you're basically saying that you're not against them raiding Mar-a-Lago. You're not against them raiding him in New York. You're not against him. You're not against the deep state raiding Georgia coming up. Like, that would be the first thing that I would say. On day one, I'm pardoning Donald Trump. And that's why I trust Vivek. And I hope he chooses Vivek as his vice president if he becomes a nominee. But when I see Trump at plus 275, wait, no, what was he to win the minus 215, right?
Yeah.
Minus 215 to win the Republican primary. Okay, yeah, that's pretty high considering, right, with all the indictments.
Right.
That's pretty high. DeSantis at plus 250. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair value. That's fair value. But I mean, I mean, again, like my entire thing is like, this 80 million base, right? In other words, if you win the nominee, you become the president of the United States. you're beating Joe Biden, right? But you're using Donald Trump's agenda, policies, and base to get there. So why not use Donald Trump as your vessel? You guys are using Trump as your I mean, it's unless someone can show me something completely different. They're all running on Trump's policies. Now, see, Vivek, the reason why you have to take him seriously is because he wasn't in Congress before. Right? Hutchinson, he's still in Congress. And everybody else that you named, Chris Christie was the governor, Mike Pence was the vice president. No, Mike Pence was the governor of Indiana before he became the vice president. Where was his America First agenda? Where were these guys? Not one of them were talking about building walls against the, immigration, illegal immigration. No one was talking about taking out ISIS. All they were doing was just bashing away, Muslims. Just bashing, 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 but not doing anything about it. There's something wrong to run with Trump's base on Trump's policies instead of just waiting out 4 years. When you're on record of saying he deserved the second term because you're on record saying that, you thought that he won the election. That's my take, folks. I don't know. So once again, on the GOP side, it's a stack of politicians, including DeSantis. And I like DeSantis. He's done amazing in Florida. I love his, when he says where woke goes to die is Florida, because woke is an ideology that's, hurting this country. And see, and this is Pride Month, and what the LGBTQ mafia, what they don't understand, and I think what pisses them off is no one cares. Like, no one cares that you're gay. No one cares. Right? All along for the last 20 years, you're like, just leave us alone. And they're still leaving you alone. But that's not enough. It's like you're trying to grasp extra attention. Like you want to be a true minority, right? Which is the most racist thing that you can do. Stealing the spotlight, because the Black Americans, the African American narrative is still in play. They're still in play. They're still the true minorities of this country who built this country. And you're trying to rain on their parade, trying to have the same rights as they do. And now you're trying to become violent because no one cares. I don't care if you're gay. But we just don't want your balls in our kids' faces. We just don't want to see it publicly to our kids. They're innocent. They have no defense, nothing. That's all. I mean, literally, that's all. It's so funny because, and that's what pisses them off the most, because it's like they wanted to fight for their rights and they really didn't have to put up much of a fight. And we're like, okay, cool, as long as you do it in privacy. Where the Black minorities of this country had to fight and fight and fight and fight. And you want to rain on them, their parade. They're the true minorities, not you. Slapping, balls to balls, scrotum to scrotum. Keep that inside your door. No one wants to see Mike and Joe teabagging each other. Just like no one wants to see, pornography in public. Folks, you listen to Prophets and Ballers. We're here with Slags and Mr. P as we wind up this show. Please, 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 wherever you listen to this show, give us a like, put the algorithms on our side. If we say anything offensive, please just go back 10 years ago and be that person of 10 years ago, or those or be in that mindset of 10 years ago. Okay, Bill Maher admits to it. Okay, don't be that guy, that woman, right? That's against comedy. Don't be that. Don't be that guy. Okay, don't. Okay, life's too short to be that serious. Okay, if you were serious, you would have never pulled the lever for Joe Biden. So obviously, you're not that serious. And on that, you know, Slags, take us out. You know,
I
and
just, I'll be honest with you, and I'm going to reiterate it that this is required listening for everybody out there because um, you just, I mean, it was moving, to be honest with you, to hear some of the ways that you articulated uh, these issues and what's going on. And I just for everybody out there that's listening, thank you so much for supporting us. Number one, thank you for being there for us. But you need to spread the word on this one. You need to tell your friends. You need to tell everybody that you know. Listen to this episode, and then go back and listen to all the prior episodes that you may have missed if you're just jumping on board. Because Salt's just man, Salt, you're Barry Bonds. You freaking knocked this one out of the park, out of the stadium, and yeah,
I,
I
I,
just can't I just
all
can't
right, all right, all
express.
right, all right. Stop meat riding. Stop. I know it's Pride Month. Get off the meat. It's like you're letting me teabag.
Yeah, and for those that get offended by that, stop being so soft.
Yeah.
Or go to Arby's.
Does
Yeah.
Barry Bonds belong in the Hall of Fame, Slags?
Yes. Yes.
I agree with you.
He does. 100%. He had a Hall of Fame career before he turned to the roids, and we've already talked about why he turned to the roids was because he saw lesser players,
It
Mark
was
McGuire, Sammy Sosa, making a joke out of baseball's records, and he's like, "All right, if you want to see what I'm gonna, if you want to make a joke out of it, all right, watch what happens when I take roids."
such
And
a
that's
great
essentially
point.
what he did. That's why he deserves to be in there.
Such a great point. So you're basically saying it's the era of steroids. So
Yeah,
the
without a
guys,
doubt.
yeah, yeah. So the guys pitching to him was probably on juice, and
Yep. Hmm.
um, it kind of like Lance Armstrong. Remember, they took all his
Yeah.
belts away,
Yeah. But
and
everybody was doping.
but yeah. So the second place guy in that race was dope, and the third, fourth, I think in one of the races, like the seventh place guy got the medal or got
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess at some point you just right. I mean, that was the era,
Right.
just like 80s and 90s basketball. You could hand check, etc. That was the era, and
Right.
that's why so many people think MJ's the goat because during the physical hand check era, he was still putting up 30 points a game.
Yep.
What'd you think? Okay, to finish this off, guys, um, because we are, sports is a big part of this, and we cannot wait for the direction we go with sports on this. You guys are going to absolutely love it. But I want to hear both of you guys. What do you guys think about the NBA playoffs, the NBA championship, and where do you put Joker now? Um, his spot in today's game and historically,
Oh,
Mr. P.
Joke. Sorry, I'll take the lead.
Okay.
Joker just asserted himself as one of the all-time greats, in my opinion. While I admit that this year's NBA playoffs might have been a little bit uh, of a maybe not as exciting as in years past because I feel like the field was a little diluted. There wasn't enough star power in it. The fact that you had an 8 seed make it to the finals, um, it just I don't know. It just didn't excite me. You know what I mean?
Wow,
And
really?
yeah, it just
I'm the
didn't.
exact opposite.
Take it away.
Yeah, exact opposite. I actually hate when there's too many stars, because then I can see who the next star is going to be, right? And in
Mhm.
this case, we found out who those next stars are. It's Murray and Joker, right? In these cases, just like March Madness, right? You
Mhm.
find out who those next stars are, who the next generation of great players are going to be, right? And this is what we just found out with these playoffs. So I absolutely loved it. The fact that an 8 seed went to the finals, absolutely fantastic. You got to give credit to Jimmy Butler and bringing his team together and
Hmm.
working as a team. I mean, it was just a beauty to watch. Very hard to predict, you know, very hard to predict like who's gonna win. Uh, you know, I mean, the fact that Denver swept the Lakers, who saw that coming, right?
That's
Um,
a good point.
Holy crap! I mean, there was a lot of things that happened in the playoffs that just no one saw coming. So I absolutely loved it.
But Mr. P, don't you think after Game Three, the game in Miami? So when Miami beat Denver at Denver, Game Two,
Game two, yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
they came home. But the way Denver beat them, Game Three, I mean,
Yeah,
just my personal opinion, it just seemed like okay, whoa. That last win by Miami was a great win, but whoa,
right.
there's a serious talent discrepancy in this matchup. I
I
just thought,
I yeah, I didn't see it as like a talent discrepancy. Actually, I saw it as just being tired. I know these athletes are paid to
yeah,
be in really good shape, but look at what happened to the Stanley Cup. You know, you look at the Panthers
mhm,
and dude, they're exhausted.
their wheels fell off.
Exhausted. They went to game 7, game 6. Dude, they're done. I mean,
When when
Denver had a break for who knows how long because they swept the Lakers, right? So,
so at what point did you think that okay, the Heat, they just can't win this thing? Or
game
did you
4.
always Game 4?
Yeah,
After
game
Game 4.
4. Yeah, game
So
4.
so once it was 3-1, that yeah, I agree. I mean, I think when you lose twice at home,
Yeah.
um, that's a huge telltale.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, God, they were great in Game 5. They had double-digit leads. They led pretty much wire to wire, and then the second half came around. Um, so Slags, is he the best player in the league right now?
Joker,
Yeah.
hands down, yeah.
Should he have won the MVP this year?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That would have been 3 in a row. Embiid's no joke. I mean, Joel is just unbelievable. So, I guess my final question is: thanks everyone for listening to Prophets and Ballers. Please, help us with the algorithms wherever you're listening to us. Please, just don't give us a rating. Also, give a comment, um, and then we'll play this back. In a couple of years. Is Denver on the verge of a dynasty, or is it a one and done?
I say dynasty.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
say,
I'm there with you.
wow. All right. I guess I'm the only one of one and done. Um, I just think there's just so much money that moves around and so much team building, right, through free agency. Yeah, yeah. Golden State's getting older. Lakers are old. Hmm. Boston Celtics are still there on the other side, but they keep continuing to disappoint.
Oh my gosh, they were probably the biggest disappointment. Actually, the 76ers and the Celtics were a disappointment.
Yeah, yeah. There was no reason for the Heat to be, but I mean, a play-in team. But Slags, from a gambling perspective and angle, now we know, right? That beware of the play-in teams. Kind
Oh,
of like,
without a doubt.
yeah,
Absolutely. You
yeah,
gotta stand up and take notice now.
yeah. Kind of like the last four. So we won't get too much into that. But folks, thanks so much for listening to us. We hope you put up with the jokes, and we hope we entertained you, and we hope that um, we took you to a next level or two uh, for the moment, at least. So. Uh, Appreciate it. You're going to hear our voices much, much sooner than what you have in the past. So I truly appreciate it. God bless all of you. Slags and Mr. P, take it away.
Hey, thanks everybody again for the support and listening. We can't be here without you all. So to reiterate, like Salt says, please give us the good review, and let's get those algorithms in our favor. And thanks for being there, and we'll be there more for you moving
Yeah.
forward.
Sorry to, yeah, just one more thing. I mean, if you guys are passionate about a change and you're passionate about anti corruption, uh, then our success is the country's success. Our voices becomes your voices. And that's what we're asking for. Help us help this country. I mean, we're just passionate about this country. It's got nothing to do with red or blue, blue or red at all, at all. Just like we said, just our passion is uh, we just want, the country to go back in a, intellectual, objective, and honest path. Mr. P,
Yeah, no, everything ditto. And thanks everyone for listening, and we're signing off and can't wait to see you in the next one.
and RFK, I love you. Those are just some lightsabers. Emperor, the Emperor. do 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 do. Take care, guys.
See ya.